Hello students, I am Sayon from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today, through a PowerPoint presentation, I am going to define the term welding. Okay, and I am also going to discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of the welding process. Okay, at first, I am going to my first slide, that is the definition of welding. Basically, welding is a process in which localized collisions is produced by heating the material up to suitable temperature with or without application of filler metal, with or without application of pressure, and with or without application of the shielding gas or the flux. Okay, this is the main definition of the welding. But I want to discuss the entire definition uh, into several points. That is I have already broken the terms in the points. At first, we can see it is written the join of two metals or non-metals permanently. That means welding is a process of joining, and there are various types of joinings like the temporary joint, permanent joint, and the semi-permanent joint. Okay, but the nature of the welding joint is a permanent. Okay, and in case of welding, the metals and non-metals both can be joined through this welding process. If we say the joining processes like the adhesive joints and the mechanical joints, we can give an example of the adhesive joint, that is the glue joint. In case of adhesive joints, we use mainly the glues. Okay, but in case of mechanical joints, basically we use nut and bolts. These are the common examples of the joints. Okay, another example of the joint that I already told, that is a semi-permanent joint. This is the repeat joint. Okay, this is not temporary or permanent. This is the example of semi-permanent joint. Next point I am going to discuss, that is the similar or dissimilar type. That means any metal or non-metals which are in similar type or in dissimilar type, they can be joined through this welding process. Another important term, that is the heat. That means we required heat to melt the base metals to join, okay, the metals, and this is the main requirement for our welding process. In my next slide, I'm going to discuss about the how to produce these heats. Okay, now I'm going to the next point, that is written with or without application of the filler metals. Mainly, there are different types of welding processes, and in the application of the filler metals, we can define the welding process like the autogeneous welding, homogeneous welding, and heterogeneous welding. Okay, that means uh, the requirement of the filler metals depends on the types of the welding. That means which type of welding we are going to prefer. Okay, that is also depends on our application. Next optional thing, that is the pressure. Okay, that means also with or without applying the pressure we can weld, and it will depend. That means the term pressure will depend on the types of the welding. That means which type of welding we are going to prefer. Next, another important term that is written in the next point, that is the with or without shielding agents or flux. Okay, I am going to discuss about this term, that is the flux. I want to say what do you mean by this term flux. Basically, flux is a chemical compound that is used to remove the oxide layer from the metals. Basically, in case of any metals, there is a oxide layer, and for welding, oxygen is the main problem for any type of weldings, because it can generate the cracks or other defects. Okay, so if we want to remove the oxide layer from the metals, we have to use this flux, because without removing this oxide layer with the help of this flux, we cannot get the fresh metal contact. And if we don't get the fresh metal contact, we cannot join the base metals as well. Okay, so this is the one application of the flux. Another applications are there. I will discuss about this flux in detail in my upcoming videos. Next important term, that is the collisions of two metals at joint. Here collisions is a important word that I'm going to say through this video lecture. That is, this term is very important for the welding, because there is a various types of joints that is in nature of permanent, but in case of collisions there will be same metallic structure. We can see if we do the cross section of that welding section and see the mm, in the microscope, so we can see same type of metallic structures. Okay, so this term collisions denotes that thing. That means in case of welding joints we can see the metallic similarity between the base metals and the welding joints. Okay, this is a very important part of a welding definition. I'm going detail in that term in my next slides. Next is through this block diagram I'm going to discuss about the definition of the welding. That is the, I have already told one important term that we required for our welding job, that is the heat. And we can produce this heat by the various processes like electric arc welding, electric current in case of our arc welding, like the gas for our gas welding, chemical reactions like the in the case of thermite welding, laser or ultrasonic, friction, explosive, and other processes are there to generate the heats. Okay, by basically by generating the heat, we are going to melt or diffuse our base metals, and that will join our metals. Okay, and here also there is option for the filler metal. We can use the filler metal, or there is a option not to use the filler metals. Okay, it will depend on the which type of welding process we are going to prefer. Next, here is also written the welding definition. I'm now reading again. I've already told. Okay. Next important term that is also related to the welding definition, that is the weldability. Mainly the weldability term denotes the ability of the welding of metals. Okay, and the weldability depends on the various points of the metals like the melting point, thermal conductivity, thermal expansion, surface condition, change in microstructure. Okay, and there are other points are also there, and these terms are depends on the this weldability. Okay, and basically weldability can be defined as it is the capacity of being welded into inseparable joints having specified properties such as definite weld strength, proper structure, etc. Okay, next, here this is the metallurgy of welding. I'm not going detail in this lecture, just I'm going to discuss that suppose this is a simple butt joint. Okay, here is the one part and here is the another part. If we do the cross section of any part and see the microscope, see the microstructure in a microscope, then we can see this type of structures after a welding. Okay, basically this is the total fusion zone we can see in this picture, and in this fusion zone we can see the heat affected zone. Okay, here is a 1 2 3 4 separate zones are there. These are not important for according to your syllabus. And another term that is the we can see there is a curve. Okay, that is the solid to liquid transition curve. That means in the center we are using the heat and the metal will be melted. Okay, and it will be in the form of the liquids. When the when we take the temperatures, that means in case of this side or these sides, these are the cooler sections with respect to this. Okay, when the temperature releases from the heating zone, we can see this type of curve. Okay, and the liquid portion of the molten metal will be converted into the solid section. And we can see also the difference between the grain structures. In the center zone we can see the coarse grain structures. Okay, but in case that means in the hotter sections. But when you go to the cooler sections, that means these sections, we can see the original cold worked and the elongated grains. That means we can see the different type of grains. Okay, actually these terms are related to the word that is the collisions. Okay, that is why I'm telling the collisions word is important in case of the welding definition. These are the main things. I'm going to the detail of this metallurgy portion in my upcoming videos. My another videos of the welding is also there. You can prefer those videos also. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about the certain advantages and disadvantages of the welding procedures. Okay, the main advantages of the welding process is the different materials can be welded. That means metals or non-metals. As an example, metals we can all know the examples of the metals. In case of non-metals, we can get an example of the plastics. We can also weld the plastics. This is also called plastic weldings. Another examples are also there. I'm not going in detail. Next, another advantage is that welding can be done anywhere. That means the portability. There are several types of welding operations are there. Okay, there that is the terms of portable. Okay, that means welding can be done anywhere. Next, disadvantages. There are mainly four disadvantages. That is the heat affected zone. Properties of the base metal is also affected. Okay, as we can see in my previous video, that is the metallurgical structure of a welding. Next, to dismantle, we have to break the weld. Okay, this is also important. I want to give an example to describe this. In case of our bridges, we don't prefer the welding. We prefer the rivet joints, because if we want to repair any section of a bridge, then we have to break it for the dismantle and to repair. Okay, without breaking we cannot repair that section. But in case of rivet joint, so this is a semi-permanent joint, so we can easily repair it to the riveted joint. Another points are also there to use the rivet joints, that is the vibration. Weldings cannot take the vibration. Okay, but rivets joints can take the vibration of the entire bridge. Okay, next point I'm going to discuss, that is the initial investment is more. Okay, for every type of welding, we have to brought the setup, that is the also a costly thing. And another important part, that is a high skilled operator is required. In case of arc welding or another weldings are also there, which is very risky. So high skill is required for the operators. These are the mainly disadvantages of the welding. Okay, but still we prefer welding operation for any type of joints and any type of repairing operations. Okay, due to its portability and due to its weldability options. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. You can also prefer my other videos also to get a detailed knowledge about the welding sections. Okay, if you like this video, please like and share to your friends, so also they can get a better knowledge about this lecture. Okay, thank you.